So risk management is a big part of this, and it sort of sums up all of these questions. And risk management is the proactive discipline that deals with the possibility that some future event will cause harm. And it gives you the framework to recognize and solve those situations. So you have to always be asking what can happen, what can go wrong, and what can I do to make sure it doesn't go wrong, and what will I do if it does still go wrong. So crowd management, again, crowd control, planning for your crowd, knowing your crowd can make or break your event or your show. Everybody has certain opinions about what types of music draws certain crowds. Actually, country music is draws one of the rowdiest crowds. So whenever a venue does a country show, a lot of times you'll have metal detectors put into place and that sort of thing. Typically, rap is considered to be sort of a trouble-causing crowd. Whatever it happens to be, you need to know your crowd. If you're doing an event that has multiple artists, you might have a lot of different types of people all mixed together. So you have to be aware of who all those people are going to be, how they generally behave, so that you can be prepared if there's typically bad behavior in that crowd.
What is it then about country music? I think I know, but what is it about country music that increases the risk?
I don't know. It just the fans are a little rowdier. Maybe they tend to be macho. Maybe they drink more.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, alcohol is always, a consideration in that, and they probably drink a lot. But generally, venue managers don't really like country shows because they're more trouble than just about anything else.
So the country music then that we've had at Jazz Fest, has it? And I haven't gotten over to see it.
I think so far the country acts that we've had have not been. First of all, there's not enough of them, so the number of those people in the crowd, I think, has kind of been minimal. I think as we're building on that, and it remains to be seen, but it's definitely something that is going to draw in an entirely different type of crowd for an event that that we've never had before. So it's just going to depend on the numbers of those people.
I'm thinking the fact that it would be a mixed. We have mixed audiences. Mixed artists. So that I'm thinking that because it wouldn't just be purely country or pure just rap or just whatever, that may tend to spread the risk or lessen the risk.
Right. It thins it out a little bit. And an event like Jazz Fest, it's a very well-known event, and a lot of people that go to Jazz Fest tend to go time and time again, regardless of what the acts are. So a lot of people go for the event itself, as opposed to particular people coming to see a particular group. But it is thinned out because there are so many different types of acts. And we've been very lucky, and the Jazz Fest has a reputation for being a very calm, laid-back, secure event. We rarely have fights or anything like that, even when we've brought in artists that maybe typically might do that. Even when we had, who was the rap artist a couple of years ago, and he was really late, Mystical, and
he was on that stage.
Was that?
He was on the other stage.
Was that that wasn't the Dave Matthews Day, was it?
But because he was real late, the crowds were back to back, and you couldn't. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it was the Dave Matthews Day. So it was a huge crowd. People had gathered at one stage to see Mystical, and I think he was an hour or two or something terrible. And again, luckily the crowd was a typical Jazz Fest crowd. It was a mixed crowd, and they did get upset, but it didn't get to the point where they started fights or got rowdy or anything like that. But that's certainly a potential. Say he was doing a show at House of Blues or at the arena or something like that, there's much more potential for something bad happening if something like that does occur. So certainly doing shows on time is very important because, again, it gives potential for the crowd to get upset and get out of control. So
it was the case at Essence, this past Essence, when we had Chris Brown was late.
mm-hmm.
He was late. He was supposed to be a main stage opener or whatever, and I don't think we anticipated that many people would come to see him. Or if that many people did, it would be early on the main floor. But because he was late, missed the flight, just to get him on, because so many people showed up to see him, they put him upstairs where I was in one of the soup lounges. And in Houston, that stadium is not necessarily configured like the Superdome, where we have large lounges to put him in. So he was put on that stage, and they got so thick, there were young girls fainting, passing out, but the crowd was so thick, as they fainted, there was no room for them to fall. So they had to kind of like pass them through the crowd to get them backstage. It really got out of hand. So.
Yeah, it was a very small space. The crowd wasn't big, but they were concentrated right in front of the stage. And again, being flexible. I mean, that's certainly not anything that we anticipated. It's something that you always think about and have in the back of your mind, what would I do if that happened? And we ended up stopping his show because we realized it was out of control, it was liable to just get worse, and we had to make sure that these people, that nobody else got into a bad situation. So we stopped the show. We got the girls that had fainted or whatever out of the crowd, took them to the first aid, checked them out. Everybody was fine. And again, a lot of people weren't very happy and then the ones that had gone up there to see him when we pulled the plug. But that was really the only way to deal with that.
It was after 2 songs that we had to stop it because it was getting out of hand.
Yeah. So, and that was a situation where the talent was bigger than the space we had for them. But again, we had tried to make the best of a bad situation, and in that case, it didn't work out that well. So.